Hey guys, welcome back to Words at War at the Movies. My name is Jorge Guerra.
And I'm Sergio Guerra.
And this week we're going to be reviewing The Lone Ranger, Disney's The Lone Ranger. So The Lone Ranger, of course, you know, is old. I mean, it's old already, the story, but so it's pretty much, you know, this guy coming into his own with Tonto, his sidekick Tonto, the Lone Ranger and Tonto, you know, fighting evil, all that good stuff. I mean, as far as the movie goes, as a reboot or as a kind of bringing back The Lone Ranger, I still kind of remember some of the TV show from when I was little, you know, like from the old TV show and stuff like that. And I honestly liked the time. It clocked in under 2.5 hours, I think, just about. And it definitely didn't feel that long. Like I think to me it felt like it was definitely in phases, like you know, like Act 1, Act 2. Like it definitely did feel to me like there was little arcs and little parts that finished. And you know, and honestly, like the last like about 20-30 minutes of the movie is just a total payoff. What it was for me, like I really liked what they did with like towards the end and stuff like that, and I really enjoyed it. Johnny Depp was good in it. Armie Hammer, I'd seen him in some stuff before, and I think he did pretty good in this one too. Like I think all in all, everybody did a pretty good job. I like the way they set up the villains. I liked the way the story was told. But I mean, there was some parts in the story that were a little but all in all, the experience itself was definitely a good summer movie. What did you think?
I completely disagree. If you want to see a good Lone Ranger movie, miss the first hour and a half and just come in towards the end, and you'll be fine. I think this movie, they didn't know whether to make a Lone Ranger movie or a Tonto movie, and I understand it's, you know, Johnny Depp, you want to use him as much as possible, but you know, the way the story is told from the beginning, this isn't much of a spoiler because you'll see it right away, is through the, I guess, point of view of this child that goes into this weird kind of circus that has an exhibit about like the Old West, and then apparently Tonto is one of the exhibits, and makes no sense at all. Nowhere through the movie does it make any sense at all. It's just Tonto is an old man telling the story of the Lone Ranger, which, again, you know, I remember a little bit of the TV show that used to play at Nickelodeon and all that at night when I was a kid, and the Lone Ranger was a badass, you know, he was cool. They made him into a freaking whiny, you know, pansy guy, like in this movie. Everything about him was like, just, you know, funny. They managed to make a Lone Ranger that had guns and never shot anybody.
Well, but
he dislikes guns.
Yeah, but I mean, I think that's what I liked about it. It was that whole
bang,
you know,
bang. No,
but it was the two
bang,
sides of the
bang.
coin where he started.
It means I shoot you, you die.
I know, but it started the whole, you know, I thought it was cool because it totally made you see the change between one to the other. Though I do think that it should have been, maybe like the change should have been in a longer time span as opposed to like where they did it in 3 days. You know, it's like he turned into a completely different guy in pretty much 3 days. So
even then, it wasn't 3 days. It was like 2 minutes. The whole movie, he's just some weird guy, awkward dude, and then all of a sudden at the end, when, you know, the William Tell Overture comes on, all of a sudden it's like, oh, he's the Lone Ranger. Yeah, I mean, I get it. If you just saw that, you'd go, hey, that's a pretty cool, like, you know, Lone Ranger movie. But to me, if you see the whole thing, I mean, I didn't like it like at all as a Lone Ranger movie. It was boring a couple of times at the beginning. The stories were all over the place. There wasn't really any like congruency between like what one character was doing to another. I mean, it just I don't know.
I mean, granted, I think there was some parts that were slow, but I think all in all, in the big picture of it, I enjoyed it. Like I had a good time watching it. It was a fun, like, little ride. You know, like that's what I thought about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, anything stick out in particular that you like?
Same things. I mean, I thought there was some cool stuff in it. I mean, I'm not gonna say it was a you know, totally terrible movie, but But overall, it just was overshadowed by the fact that none of the story made much sense. I mean, you have a general, you know, revenge story sort of going on in the background that we've seen plenty of times, but it's all over the place. I mean, and like I said, that little vehicle of using the Johnny Depp character as a museum like prop that's telling the story It makes no sense. It doesn't help you get into the story. It doesn't. I don't think it does anything. So again, what stood out to me is just this should not have been made.
Well, I mean, like for me, what I liked about it was I liked the characters in it. You know, like that's what I liked about it was the characters, and I think maybe that's why I ended up liking the movie after all. But I will agree, my dislikes on it was that whole kind of the gimmick of kind of like a kind of like Princess Bride, kind of taking you out of in and out of the story because of a third party. You know? It's
No. Princess Bride was great.
I love when Princess Bride
the
did
way
it.
they did
Yes,
the way they take you back out of the story. It actually serves the story.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying.
This
Like the Princess Bride did it right, and these guys didn't do it well. You know, what I mean? That's what I was.
I agree with that.
Yeah, so I mean, that was my probably biggest dislike about the movie. But again, all in all, I
Rating, go for it.
a rating. So all in all, I'd go with a. I'm gonna go with a 7.5, just because I think that did take away a little bit from the storytelling, and I'm on the border of whether or not to pick it up again, and I would maybe go watch it again. So yeah.
I'll give it a 5.5. It's not a horrible movie. I don't know if they were aiming it maybe towards like just kids that have just heard the name Lone Ranger. I'm not necessarily the biggest Lone Ranger fan. It just seemed to me like it didn't really do much for at least what's in my memory for the Lone Ranger. Didn't do much to uphold that memory. Didn't do much for me to want to watch more stories with these guys. Again, Johnny Depp was cool in it, but you should have just made a Johnny Depp movie then, and be done with it. So, anyways, 5.5 for me. That's as high as it can go.
So go watch the movie. Let us know what you think. Click like, subscribe, all that jazz if you'd like. But again, Jorge Guerra.
Sergio Guerra.
And have a good one. Bye.